We're in quantum jumping 13. See, I have a couple of questions. We get lots of questions on the blog and also on Facebook. Those of you who have comments on Facebook, you know that I answer most of them right there. We've had quite a few, about 150 over the last few days. Here's a few that one of my people here pulled out for me. Just arbitrarily, because one question is just as good as another. This comes from Steve Stewart from the UK, from England. You say I should have a date in mind when I quantum jump, I suppose he means. But this is not a finite project, so I'm visualizing a large amount and seeing what comes to me. Your advice of taking the emotion of failure or guilt out of the equation has helped me a lot in visualizing heaps of money flying my way, etc. This is the vital factor missing from all of the books I've read or browsed through that boast of making you rich through visualization seem to leave out the fact that you should take your emotion out of it. That's a very good question, a very pertinent question. Actually, it was couched kind of as a statement. But he also says that he's not necessarily keeping a date in mind. You want to have a date in mind, not that it's got to be done on that date, but by that date. Because without a date, you can never say it's not happening. You don't have a date, it could happen 100 years from now. Put a date in there, a realistic date to be sure. So many stories come to mind, but if I start taking up time with stories there, we won't get through this. I would much rather get in this business here of your advice of taking the emotion of failure or guilt out. One of the things that stops people from getting their goals, from getting the things that they want, is limitations. That comes from guilt. I only deserve so much, so you limit yourself. Or your emotions. Now, I've interpreted or defined emotions many times for you, for those of you who haven't heard the definition. An emotion is any thought that has like or dislike involved. The more like, the more emotional. The more dislike, the more emotional. The problem with emotions are that the higher the degree of the emotion, the less likely you are to be able to think. And when you're not thinking, you're not sending out that energy to get that law of attraction that we've heard so much about in action. In other words, to simplify it, emotions stop programming. You want to get your emotions out of the way. And of course, the best example of that is an old homily. The attorney who defends himself as a fool for a client. Why? Because he cares too much. A surgeon whose child needs an operation won't operate on their own child. Why? Because they care too much, afraid they'll make a mistake. The more you care, the more unlikely it is that you'll be successful. Now, you do care. This is seemingly a paradoxical situation because you do care. You wouldn't be doing it in the first place. But you see, that's intent. That's where intent comes in. Your intention is to get this thing done. That's enough. Once that intention is set, you want to get your emotions out of the way. How do you get your emotions out of the way? By being carefree. You want to reach a state where you don't care if you succeed or not. Now, of course you care. You wouldn't be doing it in the first place. But when you're in that neutral state, your emotions are out of the way. In other words, just do it. See, that's the beauty of quantum jumping. You're going to a doppelganger, a twin self who's already successful at it. So your emotions are not involved, and you're getting the energy of that individual. Get your emotions out of the way. When I teach healing, when I do healing, I tell people it's very important to reach a point where you don't care. You don't care if you succeed or if you don't succeed. Now, you want to succeed, of course. That's your intention. But if it doesn't work, you don't say, oh, it doesn't work. It just didn't work that time. Okay. When I'm working on a person, if it heals, fine. If it doesn't heal, fine. That's okay. I know it's not a magic wand. It doesn't work every single time. That's okay. It works enough of the time to put you ahead of the pack. Let's see, I have another one here from Josh. Hey, Bert, I'm liking all you're providing. Sometimes when I'm quantum jumping, I have to focus my mind, and my mind wanders somewhere else. This usually happens when I'm tired. I'll be accessing the alpha state, but as I'm jumping, my mind goes in a totally different direction. What can I do to keep the focus better? Also, when I'm jumping, I usually get an environment that is just space. Should I be creating a different environment or just let it happen? No, you want to just let it happen. Whatever comes, let it come. Now, with respect to the minutia that usually comes into your mind, this is a common thing with everyone, and it's very simple to resolve. You resolve it by concentrating your attention, and you do it in this manner. Josh says when he's quantum jumping, he loses focus and his mind wanders elsewhere. We also get many questions about the fact that, I can't see my doppelganger. Or there's just a blank spot there. What you're doing when you quantum jump, you are using a sense that you use all of the time. That sense is called your daydreaming sense, or your daydreaming mechanism, as Jose Silva used to call it, your daydreaming mechanism. I call it your daydreaming sense. It's the same thing. We all daydream. When you daydream, you are creating visual images. There's nothing to it. If I say to you right now, close your eyes and think about your living room. Wow, all of a sudden, you know where the couch is, you know where the chair is, you know where there's pictures on the wall. You know where everything is, and you sense it. How do you see it? You're sensing it. If I say to you, imagine the front door of your home, you'll close your eyes and you'll see something. If I say to you, imagine your kitchen, where's the sink? Where are you standing? So you see it. Now, do you see it as clearly as you see me? When you're really into a daydream, sometimes you do, but not always. It's generally a feeling, well, that's the sense that we're going after. So, to get to your doppelganger, try it this way. Close your eyes. Don't be concerned about alpha. Alpha is a scientific definition, let's say, of brain waves. You're in alpha when you're producing a certain amount of brain waves. We usually say 10 brain waves per second is the center of the alpha. At the awake state, you're in beta. I won't get into that because it's unnecessary. You don't have to be too concerned with alpha. Just be concerned with relaxing. Relax, that's all. You close your eyes. Sometimes I'll take a jump when I'm in a market or when I'm walking down the street with my eyes open. I'll just daydream myself where I want to be. I always quantum jump. Once in a while I go to the dentist. When I go to the dentist, I'm always quantum jumping somewhere else. He's drilling and my mind is somewhere else. I'm with my doppelganger on a beach somewhere. That's a daydream, you might say. Yeah, that's what it's all. The same mechanism. The basic difference between a daydream and quantum jumping is that a daydream is recreational. You're having fun with it. Quantum jumping is creational because you're creating something. You're creating a goal. Okay, so before you jump, think about something that you know. Think about something simple like your bedroom. I see my bedroom. Or a person. See a person that you know. And then mentally say 1, 2, 3, I'm with my doppelganger now. And then bring that same sense into it. Do that and do make some comments on the blog or on Facebook. You all know Facebook, how to get there. Just type in Burt Goldman and you'll get to Facebook. We have quite a following on Facebook now, something like 38,000 people. So join us. Okay, our time is all but up. We have a few more seconds, so I'll close now by wishing you a wonderful week, a wonderful month, and a great 2011. I'm already looking forward to 2012. It's going to be a great year. But let's concentrate on 2011. Okay, friends, Burt Goldman saying goodbye for now. See you next week.